The only time my cats get hyper is when I get ready to film, which is, Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you my January wrap-up. That's the month, right? January. So this month I read 4 books, and I'm okay with that, because one of those was a really big book. And I'm currently reading The Martian by Andy Weir. Is that who writes it? I did not prepare for this video. But I'm currently reading The Martian, and I'm really enjoying it, but I haven't picked it up in a while because I just haven't had the desire to read. I know that sounds terrible, and it hurts my heart to say that. And I don't think it's a reading slump coming on. I think it's just the fact that we just got a PS4 and I've been playing the shit out of Until Dawn, as well as watching my boyfriend play through Resident Evil 7. So basically what I've been doing with my free time is that instead of reading. Oh well, I was really hoping to finish The Martian before the end of the month, but looks like that's probably not going to happen. But I am pretty pleased with the 4 books I read this month. I've got them here to show you. I'll give you a little snippet about each of them and my general thoughts, and if I have reviews for any of them, I'll link them down below. Without further ado, let's get into the books. These are in no particular order, except for this is just the order that they are currently sitting beside me. So book number 1 is The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket. This is the 3rd book in his series of Unfortunate Events series. Basically, if you don't already know, this series follows the tales of the Baudelaire orphans, who are just 3 children who lost their parents in an unfortunate fire, and whose uncle, Count Olaf, has been trying to steal their fortune through a bunch of different heinous acts, essentially. This book is the 3rd one, so I don't want to spoil anything, but if you've seen the original movie, or if you've seen the Netflix show, you kind of know what already happens in this book. I absolutely loved it. I had a problem with how predictable it is, but it's a middle grade, like early middle grade, late elementary school book, so obviously it's going to probably be a little predictable to me. I'm looking forward to continuing the series to see if I feel the same way about the later books. But yes, if you haven't already picked up this book, They knocked over my broom. But if you haven't already picked up this series, I would highly recommend it just because it is fun. It's kind of interesting and whimsical at times, but it's also very dark. I think it combines the two very, very well in a very interesting story. So the next book I have to talk about is one I also have the spoiler-free review for, and that is Stone of Tears by Terry Goodkind. This is the 2nd book in his Wizard's First Rule series? No, that's not right. This is the 2nd book in his Sword of Truth series. I had a lot of mixed feelings about this book. First off, it is over 1,000 pages long in the mass paperback version, and I felt like it probably could have been half that size, and still you would have gotten the same amount of story. His writing is very long-winded at times. I didn't say this in my spoiler-free review because I forgot, but it genuinely, this book didn't feel like it had a start or an end. It felt like he had just this timeline of events, and he just kind of picked a spot for it to start and picked a spot for it to end and just made that the book. I don't know if that makes sense at all. But this, even though it's in a series, it didn't really feel like the story started anywhere or ended anywhere. It just kind of felt like it was in between things still. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I will be continuing the series because apparently he gets crazy and preachy later on in the series, and I'm looking forward to that. The next book I'm going to talk about is Dragons of Autumn Twilight, the 1st book in the Dragonlance Chronicles by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman. This book is a high fantasy adventure novel that basically centers around a group of friends who reunite after, I think, 5 years. And they all just kind of had gone their separate ways and did their things, and now they're reuniting for the first time and going to discover what this mysterious evil that they're hearing about is. It was fun, it was adventurous, this book was just a page-turner. It just started going from basically the first page until the last page. There was a wide cast of characters. I had some issues with the lack of diversity and sexism in this book, though, and I do talk about that in my spoiler-free review. But overall, I will be continuing this series, at least the first part of the series, because the first Dragonlance Chronicles is like 4 books, I think. But there are 190 books written in this universe, and I don't know if I'll be continuing that far because that's a lot of books. So the next book I'm going to talk about today is not a traditional book in which you probably are thinking about, and instead it is a manga, and that is the 2nd volume of Death Note. I have the fancy black edition, so like the pages are all real cool. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars just because I love it so much. I watched the anime a few months ago in its entirety, and I loved that, so I knew I had to pick up the manga, and it does not disappoint. If you don't already know, Death Note is the tale of a student named Light who finds a Death Note, which is basically a notebook where he can write the name of anyone down and they die. He can control the time of death, he can control how they die, etc. And so this power goes to his head. It involves the Shinigami, which are the gods of death, and just all sorts of other things, and it is a intense ride. I would highly recommend either picking up the manga if you like mangas, or watching the anime at least, because it is fantastic. So those are the books that I read in the month of January. Let me know down below some books you read and whether or not it was a good reading month or not for you. Honestly, I'm saying even though I only read 4 books that it was a good reading month, even though I didn't get to Cat's Cradle, which was like one book that I was like, you need to read this month. I picked up The Martian because I assumed that I would finish it and then be able to pick up Cat's Cradle, but like I said, got a PS4. Distractions. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!